be making a follow-up video on my famous gluten-free high-protein bagels, so stick around. Hi, Debbie Chu here from Chu on Vegan. Welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, I'm a plant-based RN and I like to eat a whole food plant-based diet with a focus on protein. Back in May of 2024, I posted a bagel recipe. It was gluten-free, high protein. It was inspired by another creator. I think it is Gluten-Free Living is the name of the channel. I can post that down below. And I posted the recipe and I showed you how to make it. Well, since that time, I have made a few little tweaks, which I think makes the recipe better. So today I'm going to show you the few little tweaks. They're very simple, but I've gotten a few comments about these bagels that people have questions about the temperature and the time of cooking and blah, blah, blah. And I will clarify that all today. And in case you didn't know, my t-shirts are available. The link is in the description box. And I only have large and extra large left, so if you would like to get a t-shirt, now is the time. And I may be getting another batch, but we'll see how everything goes. The full recipe will be in the description box, along with my discount codes, my Amazon favorites, links to my cookbook, my online course, other resources that I offer, so check that out as well. All right, let's get into it. So one of the changes that I made for this recipe was now I double the recipe. Every single time it's doubled. So I make this every 6 days. I also changed the flour I use. I now use gluten-free all-purpose flour from Trader Joe's. Quinoa flour is great, but it's really expensive, and I've tried to grind my own. It just doesn't taste the same to me. This is just more convenient and it's cheaper, so this is what I'm using. So all the dry ingredients are just going to go in the bowl. So we have the flour, and I've got my plain and unsweetened protein powder. I use Earth Chimp. You can use whatever kind you want, but I love Earth Chimp. That's my oven, it's preheated. And if I didn't mention, preheat your oven to 375. That was another change. Original was 350 degrees, but I found it comes out better when I up it to 375. All right, so I've got some ground flaxseed and I've got some sugar. You can use date sugar, coconut sugar. I'm just using regular sugar. You know, it's 2 tablespoons divided into 6 bagels. It's not that big of a deal. If you are going to use regular sugar, make sure you get organic. Like the CNH sugar, those are all processed with like cow bones to help bleach it, make it white. So I prefer the organic sugar because I know that it's vegan. Then we've got some salt, baking powder, baking soda. Easy peasy so far. Then I just whisk these together. For the wet ingredients, we're going to use some psyillium whole husks. You don't want the powder, you want the whole husks, okay? And we're going to add that to some warm water. And then we're just going to whisk it up. We're also going to add some apple cider vinegar. Then we're going to let this sit for a few minutes and let it thicken up. So it's thickened up, so I like to make a little well here. And I pour almost all of it in there. And then we start combining. And it's going to seem like you don't have enough liquid, but you will. All right, then where I see it's like pretty dry, then I'll just pour some over there. Incorporate that in, and then go on the other side here, and then you just keep going, keep combining. Okay, once it gets to this point, I wet my hands and just kind of mix it around. I will weigh all of this and then divide it by 6, and that's how big I will make my bagels. Alexa, what's 907 divided by 6?
907 divided by 6 equals 151.17.
Okay, so each one is going to weigh about 151 grams. So, and then we're just going to put them on this lined baking sheet. So let me zero out my scale and then wet your hands, and then you just start measuring it out. This way you get even bagels, even sized bagels. Okay, and if it's 152, whatever, it's fine, 153. And then you just put those on the baking sheet. All right, I'm going to continue dividing these up and putting them on the baking sheet, and then I'll show you the final step. Okay, once you have them all on your baking sheet, then we're going to put the holes in them, and I just stick my finger in and make little holes. And they definitely do not need to be perfect. Then we're just going to sprinkle on some everything but the bagel seasoning. You could do sesame seeds, you could leave them plain, whatever you want to do, but I like this. On here. Now these are going to go in a 375 preheated oven for 45 minutes. That's another thing I change, is I increase the cooking time, the baking time. So depending on the weather outside, sometimes they have to bake longer. Like if there's a lot of moisture in the air, it's really weird. So check it at 45 with a toothpick, and then if not, let them go for 3 to 5 minutes more. All right, these are going to go in the oven. Then I'm going to show you how I store them and how I serve them. All right, just took them out of the oven. We're going to let them cool on the baking sheet for about 5 minutes. Then I'm going to transfer them to a cooling rack. Here we go, finished product. So sometimes they will be more spread out and thinner. Other times they'll be puffed up. I don't know why. I think it has something to do with the moisture in the air. I don't know. But this is what it's going to look like on the inside. Sometimes they can be slightly a little bit gummy in the middle, but once you toast them, you don't even notice. And that does happen every once in a while. It doesn't happen with every batch. So I usually use one of my Just eggs, and then I put a little of my Greek yogurt on here, and that's like 20 grams of protein. I'm going to give you the macros just for the bagels. I also want to show you how I store these bagels, and I just wrap them in a paper towel, and then I put them in this reusable, I guess kind of a baggy thing, and I store them in the refrigerator. The reason why I do wrap them in a paper towel is because there does seem to get some condensation even if I let them cool completely. So I just wrap them in a paper towel so they don't get all mushy, and they last perfect in the refrigerator for the 6 days that I have these bagels. Okay, so for each bagel, and this recipe makes 6 because I doubled the recipe, 155 calories for the bagel, 2.6 grams of fat, 23 grams of carbs, 13 grams of protein, and 8.3 grams of fiber. That's why I call these high protein, high fiber bagels. As you can see, I just made a few simple tweaks, and you're gonna do your own modifications to fit your own oven. I mean, whatever altitude you're at, it's all different. So just make them, and it's going to be a little trial and error, and you'll figure out what method works best for you. Just an update on these t-shirts. Yes, I do have some in. I only have extra large and large left. This is a medium, and it has not been washed yet, and it will shrink, and it'll be a little bit, but you can see it's not tight. After I wash it and dry it, it'll shrink a little bit and it'll be just perfect the way I like it. So I'm 5'6", about 140 pounds, and this is a medium on me, so if you think you need bigger, then go with the large, and then we also have extra large. Okay, I hope you liked this video, hope you learned something. If you did, please give it a like and share it with your friends, and please subscribe, I really appreciate it. If you've made it this far in the video, please comment below with bagel, and that way I know you made it to the end with me, and I really appreciate it. Remember, all my recipes are good for you, they're good for the animals, and they're good for the planet. What you put on your plate determines your fate. Until next time, thank you.